And we are live to talk about the rest of Creature Commandos. Got lots to talk about here involving the last 3 episodes. And you know what? Let's get right into it. And we are live to talk about more Creature Commandos. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. Got lots to talk about, lots of stuff. As you know, I think these last 3 have given us a lot to talk about. So very excited because I know we both talked very positively about the first 4. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to go check out part 1 that we did a few weeks ago. But now we're back here to talk about the rest of it, as Creature Commandos season 1 is officially over, and we got lots more to say about it. We got lots to say about it. So very much looking forward to it. Just make sure I'm finishing sharing this out here really quick. But yeah, I was personally quite pleased about the last 3 episodes overall. How about you?
I'll say overall, I don't think I liked him as much as the first 4.
Oh, okay.
Not quite. I still liked him. Like I still enjoyed
Sure.
him. But I definitely have maybe a few issues that we'll get into. But
Sure.
yeah, a solid set of episodes though, for sure. So yeah.
I understand that. All right. Excellent. Well, you know what? We'll just dive right into it. Something before we do dive right into it, though, I just want to bring up a few important things. First up, I want to say on Monday, I will have out a video covering Alien Paradiso issue 1. And so that is a special Alien comic series that just recently started coming out, where I'm joined by Salacious Rum. Then on Saturday, what is that? The 18th, we'll be live with another Daily Dingus. Got a good friend returning for that, as well as I'll have a special announcement or 2 as well. So be sure to come back in for a week for Daily Dingus, where we'll be talking about just whatever big comic news has come out in the last week or 2, as well as or not week or 2, but like more like a month or so, just stuff that I haven't missed since I haven't done it in a while. But also I do have a couple important channel updates to or announcements, I should say, to share then as well. So be sure to tune in to Daily Dingus next week as well. So just want to put that out there before we got deep into it. Also be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Helps the channel out. So, but yeah, with that, let's get right into it. We have Ubaldo here. What's up, Ubaldo? Great to see you here.
Ubaldo.
And so, but yeah, Creature Commandos. Let's get right into episode 5 here. As you know, what, spoilers. Just like last time, I will be sharing the pictures of stills from the show. And so, if you haven't seen Creature Commandos, go watch it. It's definitely worth the watch. And then come back here where we will have already discussed it. So let's get right on into it with right here. Episode 5 begins with, we see this, I don't remember her name, but we see her.
Oh, is it McPherson?
Maybe that actually sounds right.
I think so.
That actually sounds right. I'm terrible with names half the time. And so, yeah, but
Right.
yeah. And so anyway, we see her there teaching this class. She's acting really weird. As you can,
Yeah, I was made me uncomfortable a little bit, you know.
Just a little bit, yeah. You can make out on the board there, maybe, you know, that she has lesbians written out on there. She's saying like this is a lesbians class, and find out that as you can see there, Frankenstein and Rick Flag Sr. is watching over her there, trying to figure out what in the world's going on, as they believe that they're believing that the princess is innocent, as you know, cliffhanger from episode 4. What's going on? So
yeah, this was a really interesting opening scene. David Harbour's great as Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
Like he's definitely a
continues.
highlight. Um, and yeah, you're right now. They're trying to figure out what all is, as we are as the audience trying to figure out what is going on. What does she know? And come to find out a little bit more here
Yeah,
in a little bit about her.
totally. Yeah, there's just another one of them talking with each
My
other.
my contact lens is around here somewhere. Oh,
Yeah, I love the banter between them. They're a fun duo, and they that really shines in this episode. I
mhm.
think as they're going through, and I think here's when Frankenstein also starts having his flashbacks, where he learns a Frankenstein centric
Yes.
episode. Because I remember we weren't sure what episode 5 was going to be about,
Mhm.
flashback wise, because every episode has a story centered around somebody, so we didn't quite know who this one was going to be. And I kind of found out as surprised that Frankenstein, I mean, it makes sense Frankenstein got one, but like we
Mhm.
already knew a lot of his story, so I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to be Frankenstein here.
Mhm. Yeah, he almost had one with the bride in a little bit. They kinda shared it. And
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
was like, "What the" I was like, "Obviously, there's more to tell," but, um, and it was interesting, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, like, his
um
story his side of the story was good, but, like,
Mhm.
I'd agree that I don't think I liked it as much as The Bride's, but it
Yeah.
was still a pretty solid episode,
Mhm.
especially some stuff that happens in a bit, which we'll get into. But as far as his backstory, though, like, it added, like, "Oh, this is what he was up to," and maybe it
Mhm.
shows it here in a moment. But, in the meantime, though, before it does show that, we see that the Creature Commandos, they're with, um, the
Oh, is it
army there.
Sergey
So
or no,
yeah, yeah,
Sergey's good. I don't remember his name.
whichever the names are.
Yeah.
I swear, I was just reviewing these earlier today. I'm already bad with names. I'm terrible with keeping track of, like,
Well, they don't say the
names.
soldiers' names a whole lot, so
That's fair, yeah.
it's harder to remember
But
them.
yeah, there were the point is though is they're being they're with the soldiers. They're trying to keep a low profile that, like, oh yeah, we're actually here to murder your princess now, since we believe that she's bad, because you know reasons that
Sir
they have
told
now.
us, yeah.
Right, right, exactly. Visions told us your princess is bad, so let's kill her. And so they're there. But then we also see Frankenstein and Rick Flex Sr. enter this house. That was it's funny with them trying to break in there as well. I don't remember the line exactly, but it made me chuckle
Yeah.
what was going on there. Yeah. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
wondered yeah.
here we actually see, in a way, it's kind of like a continuation, but yeah, continuation of like a part of the bride's backstory, because we see them like briefly fight each other, and then they
Mhm.
gets into the water all burned here, and we then find him where this old blind lady finds him and then takes care of him, and that's like the main meat behind the backstory here, is we find out how Frankenstein was taken care of by this old lady. And so here we can see how after he wakes up, we see him there, and we got a lot more other scenes with them together, and a bit of character development with Frankenstein growing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I thought she was, like, gonna kill him or something, or try to at least. Like, this random lady's living by herself in the middle of nowhere.
yeah,
Um, but she had a lot of sweet like, even the lines here with the eyes and the beauty, how she
mhm.
says that's what she sees.
I want to
That was
say, I if anybody in the chat has read Frankenstein, please let me know, but or comment down below. But I really want to know, like, I'm trying to remember, because I have read it a while ago and it didn't stick with me. But I wonder if it's her character's a callback to the actual Frankenstein original story there somehow. I'm not
mhm.
sure though. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the original, so I don't know.
um, because there's a lot of elements we have with original Frankenstein with this version of Frankenstein. And that's what makes this Frankenstein we have, I think, very appealing. Plus, um, yeah, he's just a really good version of Frankenstein, because
Mhm.
Mary Shelley Frankenstein with action, and David Harbour's voice is fantastic.
Mhm.
But yeah, we see them together there. We see they as they continue through this house though, we find that Frankenstein and Rick Flag here, they find a body here of the teacher.
The real
the real
teacher.
body,
Yeah,
right? The
find out
real
it's the real one. Yeah.
Yeah. So quite the surprise there.
Mhm.
Mystery uncovered, and then they hear him come in. We see Clayface Gaming there, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that was Xbox is now canon in the DC.
Oh, see, that's the thing is you see, yeah. See Clayface Gaming there, and it's like the most blatant marketing there, where
Yeah.
you see the Xbox logo pop up, and we know uh, DC's all owned by Warner Bros. Or Warner Bros. Discovery now, but they're arguably their biggest original gaming IP is Mortal Kombat, and that's what we see him play.
Yeah. It was like Madam Web with the Pepsi. It was like very obvious what they were doing
with the Pepsi. Yeah. See,
it's so cool.
It's funny you bring that up because I was literally just talking to a friend about that with the Pepsi.
Yeah,
because he was talking about how it bugged him about how much he was watching Madam Web, and it like drove his OCD nuts that she was just playing with the Pepsi can and didn't do anything with it.
I know.
And I was like, I don't remember this about Madam Web. I didn't focus on the Pepsi can. I don't remember this about the Pepsi.
Would you believe us if we said that's not even the worst part of the movie? Or the most annoying part?
That's funny. But yeah, no, we see Mortal Kombat, which is hilarious. That I just find it funny that Clayface is just chilling after a hard day's work to beat up people in Mortal Kombat, which is hilarious. And it's just like they just grabbed game footage and just slid it in there.
It's not even the same animation at all.
No. Talk about blatant advertising there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something I was like, oh, okay, getting some Mortal Kombat action here, you know? And you know what? To be fair, we are getting a Mortal Kombat 2 this year as well. So, but
that's right.
For that movie, yeah. But anyway, after that, we start seeing the soldiers where they figure out, or I guess they already knew, because I think there's some chatter going on earlier in the episode between them. But now they now ambush the heroes, or quote unquote heroes. I don't know who you can really call as the good guys here in the show. Let's be honest.
Right.
But yeah, they get all surrounded, and
except from the back. No one's in the back. They surround them all from the front. You know.
That's true. I love this part right here.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
That main dude dies. Dr. Phosphorus just going through punching with it. That's just glorious. I love that so much.
We see a lot of bones in this episode.
We do. We see a lot.
Probably the most violent episode of the series, I would say. Or goriest, at least.
Maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of gore in the series, but
right. No, this episode in particular is either this episode or next episode. I'd say would be the most violent.
Right. Oh yeah, because of the origin. Yeah, that's true.
We have, but yeah, it's definitely not a show for the lighthearted. If you don't like gore, wrong one.
Yeah.
All right, get out of here with this negativity of Mortal Kombat 2 movie, boo. All right, come on. We'll see how it turns out. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, got that going on. Next up, we also see the action with Clayface there, fighting Rick Flag Sr. and then Frankenstein. And we see this was, I mean, anytime I see this pose, I think of Batman Nightfall, of where that's where Batman's back breaks very much the same way against Bane's knee here. But instead of Batman and Bane, it's now Clayface and Rick Flag Sr. as he's now absolutely beating the crap up and is left with Frankenstein to do the job there.
I thought they were actually going to sneak out when they were, and then Clayface just turns around and devours them basically.
Almost. It's cool to see Clayface have a spotlight. You know, like everybody know who Clayface is, and obviously we're getting a Clayface movie now. But like having a Clayface movie wasn't the plan, and so it just kind of happened that a good script came up on the Gunn's desk, and he's
Mhm.
like, you know what, we'll make this happen. You know, cheap horror flick. Yeah, we'll make
Yeah.
this happen here. And so, but to see this Clayface is kind of interesting too, because it's like we think of. I think the general sort of look for Clayface we have is he's very. I feel like this version may be like a little skinnier than you think, but he's also not as
Mhm.
brown. You know, well, I mean, this
Yeah.
is a bit more the actual proportions you think, but like you see him a bit more. Like this shot would make me believe he's a little skinnier than like other versions of him
Mhm.
from what know of or when I think of Clayface. But they make him. They do definitely make him a badass, which is cool to give him his moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Um, especially during the fight when Frankenstein was trying to like reach out to grab the electrical
Oh
wires. And he keeps
yes,
like pulling him back. And
yeah,
that, yeah, that
yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty.
That was that. Yeah,
I'd like to know the animation process with all that, like how long that took, or
yeah.
maybe it's easier than I'm thinking. I don't know.
You
Um,
know, that's a great question. I'm not familiar with the day of modern animation processes now, but
mhm.
that it was a really cool fight between them all. We also had stuff with the bride kicking ass as well, literally punching this dude in the air, and she had
Yeah,
all this stuff going on with her guns. Bride gets a lot of love, but you know what? I think she's grown to be one of my favorites, maybe my
mhm.
favorite. Like she's been a great character.
Yeah,
So see her be all more awesome here. I love this moment though. Dr. Phosphorus, though, I think stole
yeah,
single-handedly, or I guess double-handedly in this case, stole
yes.
the episode with this part right here as he goes
Mhm.
through middle fingers up, going through the tank. I love that. And the
And through the
music.
faces, and there's the outline on their face.
Oh
It
yeah,
was great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I didn't get that, but that's yeah, I love that. Dr.
Mhm.
Phosphorus going through, and the music that Gunn picked for this too is just great to just like he has a certain tone with the action going on with these characters, and when all the action comes together, it's just great to see it all come together. And Dr. Phosphorus
Mhm.
just literally not giving a fuck here, and
Yeah.
literally giving them the fucks.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it's great. I love that. Bride
Mhm.
being more of a badass as well here. She literally just took people's gauntlets there and shooting them and whatnot. That was awesome. And
Mhm.
so, Bride and Dr. Phosphorus getting a lot of love this episode, even more so than Frankenstein, who, it's
Yeah.
his origin. And it's like all we see from him is he's electrocating Clayface right there.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
And
pretty cool shot right there.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I really did like the parts of him as you were talking about him trying to reach out there. It was really neat.
Mhm.
Um, Especially because, like, I don't feel like we've really seen much Clayface action like that on screen before.
Mhm.
Because really the only other places I can really think of where we predominantly seen Clayface in, as far as on screen goes,
Mhm.
is well, wait, we had the show was earlier. Well, I guess last year, the last or the first Cape
Mhm.
Crusader. Is that what it's called? The Amazon
Yeah,
Prime show.
yeah.
His episode in that was actually one of my favorites. Not gonna lie.
Mhm.
But
He was also in that Suicide Squad show, the animated one that came out last year. It's I don't remember how to say it,
oh,
but
the
he was like
Sky
a
or
member
whatever.
of yeah, he was like a
Oh,
member of the squad.
I actually
Um,
didn't watch that.
yeah, it's alright. I mean, it's got some cool moments in it,
See,
but he was human most of the time.
it's
Um,
interesting. I haven't.
yeah.
I meant to check it out, and I never got around to it. I should. There's some DC stuff I need to catch up on. Um,
Mhm.
but that's cool. Because I feel like the most we've seen Clayface on screen was like we saw some of him in Batman the animated series, but then we also saw a bit of him in Batman Arkham City. If you ever played
Mhm.
that, there's a bunch of cool Clayface stuff in that game. So, but awesome to see Clayface here. Oh, and then this is how the episode ends.
Yeah.
Uh, that was after seeing Frankenstein's and this lady's relationship grow. We see Frankenstein be
Mhm.
the literal monster that he is, and end her.
He's like, yeah, because she was like, "Don't leave," and he's like, "I have to." And
Anime one on Netflix. I think it's like a Max, and
it's Max, yeah.
yeah, it's Max, and I want to say it was on like one of the anime services as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should watch a review. Maybe we will. There's a lot of DC stuff I need to
Yeah.
review.
Especially in the animation. I mean, there's
so much stuff. I'd like
Yeah.
to. Another something I want to do is I want to completely go through all the like DC animated like the shows of the 90s. Like obviously I had
Mhm.
Batman being the biggest one, but then going from Batman you have you have the Batman Adventures Continue. You didn't have there's that Superman show, Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited. They're all intertwined and they went on forever. I'd like to go
Mhm.
through a bit of that stuff. And so, you know what? If you'd like to see breakdown series of that, let me know because that'd be something I'd be very interested in going through a bunch of that stuff. We're gonna be the DC animated movies as well,
Yeah.
or other stuff. There's a lot. There's a rich treasure trove of DC stuff.
Yes, there is. Yeah. You just
Oh,
gotta
wow.
dig deep.
Yeah. And hope that Max doesn't remove it because they may have
Right.
removed. I think they've removed a lot of that stuff, which sucks. Fuck
Mhm.
David Zaslav.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Frankenstein absolutely obliterates this lady, which is like for me it was like a holy crap thing, but it's
Yeah.
also perfectly in character because it's like she, Frankenstein's he is the villain, right? Or a
Mhm.
villain, and so,
Yeah.
but
It made me go, "What the heck?"
right,
You just see this. You just hear splat and blood all over the window.
right. It's
Like
like
that's
holy
probably the
crap.
most violent way to kill her, at least in that house. You know,
Uh,
I thought he was gonna shoot her actually because he had the gun,
yeah,
but
I don't know.
mm,
And he walks
chose
off with the dog as well.
yeah,
Don't have that there, but and just walking off with the dog as if everything's okay. And
yeah.
so,
'Cause he's
but
probably
yeah,
like, no one's gonna find her, you know, because she's out like in the middle of nowhere.
right. That's true. That's true. Sometimes you can get away with murder, folks.
Yeah. Oh, right. Although
Oh, God.
Frankenstein's maybe not that smart to think all that out. He's
That's
just
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck stopping Frankenstein, and we do see a little bit more of him in a moment. But um,
Mhm.
any other main thoughts on this episode? Um,
It not really. It didn't feel like a whole lot. Like even though it was like his origin, it it was like less than the others. It was more on
it
the
was
commando side.
other
Um,
than like the
you
premiere
know,
episode, it was probably the episode that focused the least on the origin, I'd say.
yeah.
But that's because we had so much of it in the bride. It was kind of like a part,
Hmm.
not necessarily a part two, because this weaves right back into because he's going to go off to just find the bride again and
Yeah.
that one sequence we talked about. But we know it just fills in a gap though, which adds a little
Hmm.
bit to the character, but uh, not. I don't know if I'd call it necessary or not, but it didn't feel like it
Yeah.
added a whole lot overall, though,
Yeah.
I'd say. But it's cool though.
Mhm.
Is I
Yeah.
like the story between them though,
Hmm.
and in a way of like, holy crap, okay, because it definitely helps fill out Frankenstein's character in that regard, which I
Yeah.
like. So, but the action in the episode was spot on though. Like the stuff went back here. It was fantastic action. Probably
Yeah.
maybe even some of the best action sequences of the show, if not the best,
Hmm.
honestly, just because you had the Clayface fight, you had the awesome Dr. Phosphorus stuff there, the bride gets her awesome moment there. It's like action-wise, this might actually be the best action out of the series, I feel like.
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm genuinely trying to think if there's any action I like more. Um, but overall, it's just like it gives you a great chunk there, and it just moves along the story a bit overall. Because like we said, it wasn't as flashback heavy, which is fine by
Mhm.
me. But although I didn't really appreciate the moment though too, at the beginning of the episode too, when he first started having his flashback, and then he like went back and he's just slurping on the thing and like just like
Yes.
right, yep,
Mhm.
kind of only paying attention. That was pretty funny.
Mhm. I mean, he's like a kid almost in the sense
Right.
of his, like, thinking, his brain and everything.
I mean,
Um,
he really does think about like that overall because all he has that one fixation, kind of like a child. You know how a child will have that one fixation and won't get off of it. That's really
mhm,
how he thinks. He only has the fixation of the bride and doesn't get off of her.
mhm.
Um, And so,
Until he gets the bride, that's all he's thinking about.
yeah, it's all he's thinking about.
Yeah. Till he gets the chicken nuggets, that's all he's thinking about.
Chicky
So,
nuggies.
yeah.
Yeah.
As dinosaurs.
Oh, that was funny. All right. Next episode begins with a flashback for Dr. Phosphorus as he's taken, loaded into the back of a truck, and yeah, quite the way to begin. We also see Nina and the bride in the modern day as everybody's on the run because they're all split up after all that action, trying to not be found as there's still a lot more soldiers left. So they go hide into this place here with a bunch of ladies, and you know what kind of place we're talking about.
Yeah. Gentlemen's club,
Yeah. And so they hide in there for a bit. We see Rick Flag there as he's all beaten and bruised. He's recovered. Well, his body's at least recovered. I mean, he's still alive, but he's safe now. He's not just laying in the house anymore, as Amanda Waller and John Economos are there trying to figure out what in the world happened. What has he learned? They're wanting to try to figure out, but obviously they can't quite figure that out right now because he's beaten to death, or almost to death. You don't screw with Clayface, guys. There's a reason why he's the big villain he is.
Yeah.
So, oh, here we go. This Frankenstein moment was awesome, where he goes through and, because we knew he was a duo with Rick Flag Sr., and we just see him being like, all right, you take it off this plane. This plane's taking off now. We're going to the castle. I don't remember where it actually is, but
turn around and fly the plane.
Yeah, exactly. You just killing that guy in cold blood too is Frankenstein's a monster.
Mm-hmm. What do we expect? What else do you expect?
Matthew calls it the Dingus Den Club. That's
nice.
That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, going back to Dr. Phosphorus's backstory, we see how his family was murdered right in front of him, and this is like right after we get some like happy scenes where like he's talking with his wife, he's playing with his I believe it's a daughter, right? Doesn't that sound right? And so wife and daughter there, and they get murdered in cold blood, and he's left to like face to like he essentially gets framed for it in the worst possible way too, by just them forcing him to put his face and hands all over him is disgusting. But and quite the tragedy too is like,
yeah,
Dr. Phosphorus has been kind of like out of the main team of Creature. Well, maybe even out of the whole show. I guess he's kind of like the biggest dick of the group, and now you're finally starting to feel for him a little bit and trying to understand like, oh man, everyone has a tragic backstory on their own way, except I guess except for Frankenstein. I don't know if you could call Frankenstein's that tragic.
Right.
He's a monster, but
this one is probably like the worst to happen to, like, origin wise, like the worst thing that has happened to any of them. Having your, I mean,
maybe
with what he's turned into after the fact.
Fair enough. Yeah,
but
I could agree with that. I think, just because like he literally loses everything versus a lot of these other people. That's how they're born. That's how they know it. Yeah, exactly, Chris. What happens to him will turn anyone into a dick. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really feel for him. So that also is pretty cool. This episode wasn't expecting was Weasel with the wolves. And it was really sweet here too. I know it's a little bit later, but we see Weasel start playing with the wolves here, throwing the stick around, and is it this moment too where he starts having it? Well, I guess no. Oh no, it's a bit later, but yeah, we start seeing him with the wolves, which is great as well. I love how much like Weasel is like a full-fledged character in this, and not just a joke in the Suicide Squad. Right. It's kind of great.
Yeah. And then you have a serious moment, and you just see him licking himself and cleaning himself.
Right, exactly.
But he does have like the way they do like the animation, even though his eyes are always going the opposite way, you can see when he's sad and when he's genuine, you can really see it on his face, and that's pretty cool.
They make you feel for Weasel in some cases, and I would have never thought I'd say those words after watching the Suicide Squad, where he was
Yep.
literally just the laughing stock of the movie of, oh, he drowns, and next thing you know, oh wait, actually he's alive.
Right. He can't die,
He can't die. Plot twist.
Yeah.
All right. But in the meantime, we see Dr. Phosphorus bond with this little girl as he's like taking refuge in this one home because remember, all the creature commandos are hiding.
Mhm.
And yeah, that was just so sweet.
Yeah, made him
Sweet.
resembled his kid a little bit, you know? Then
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, when are they gonna have, like, the parents come down? Like, when are the parents gonna hear or something like, and I was like, "Uh-oh, is he gonna kill the parents or something? Because they saw him."
Oh
And
yeah,
that
that's true.
those but obviously that doesn't happen,
She was
so
that child was very chill with a
yeah.
flaming radioactive skeleton
Mhm.
just a few feet in front of her there and talking to her, but he was being really kind to her though.
Yeah, and she's just downing her cereal and then says, "Skelly," and he says, "Yes, I'm skeleton."
um Chris is saying, and then the name of the episode comes to light, but I don't remember what the name of this episode is. Do you remember what it is?
No, but I can check real quick.
All right.
Let's see.
And he's also saying most adorable Weasel scene of the episode. Yeah, Weasel is great. Um, I really like. I just they
The
did the
iron pot.
character Weasel, the Iron Pot. There we go. Um, yeah, Weasel is pretty great though. Pretty skeleton or funny skeleton. But no, I think the Iron Pot wasn't that one. Hold on, I'm checking these here. It is what she says to him. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Gotcha.
that's right. Yeah, I knew she said something. And then she starts doing, like, a smile, and he's like, "I always look like I'm smiling, but I'm not."
Hold on, I'm looking here. The Iron Pot was episode 5. This one is
Oh, sorry. I was
yeah, yeah,
got my
yeah.
episode
It's
wrong.
fine. This one is called Prietel Skelet.
That's right. Okay.
That's it. So there we go. Prietel Skelet. So kind of like in the name of the how like the little girl says. I didn't catch that. That's a good catch there, Chris. All right. Let's see here. Oh, here we actually see his transformation. Literally the way this happened, with how he gets his powers reminded me of uh Dr. Manhattan. 'Cause it's literally the same
Mhm.
origin there, other than he was forcibly locked in there instead of accidentally being locked in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you really feel for him here. I mean, it
yeah,
just
yeah, it's tragic.
that yeah, and then he,
Yeah.
gets his revenge later.
Yeah,
Um
there's parallels on their stories though too, because when you think about
Mhm.
it, Doctor Manhattan, he had the love as of his wife, who then, I mean, they were still together a little bit, but like, yeah, there's parallels between the two stories. If you're familiar with Watchmen, you know what I'm talking about. If you
Mhm.
don't know what Watchmen is,
Go
watch the movie. Watch the animated movies. Have you watched those?
Yeah. I have not yet. Are they all on Max?
I don't
I
know if
don't
Chapter 2 is on Max yet. It could
Okay.
be now.
Yeah.
But I watched the first one, and it
Mhm.
literally reads like the comic brought to life. I think they also
Nice.
just put out Watchmen and the DC Compact line of
They
comics as
did, I
well.
picked it up.
There you go. Those are
Yeah.
great deals of stuff right there. $10 each for a lot of stuff. That's some of the best bang for your
Mhm.
buck you can get right there. So absolutely check those out. So, but yeah, it's awesome. Oh, back at the
Yeah.
gentleman's club there, if you will, we see this piece of shit get the crap beaten out of him. First,
Literally, yeah.
yeah. Deservedly so after what he
Yeah.
does.
Mhm.
But we see Nina first smack him, which that is a big character moment for Nina because I don't feel
Yeah.
like we don't see a lot from Nina because she's very hesitant all the time,
Mhm.
and we'll learn more a while later about that. But Bride uh, has her moment to also just beat the crap out of him. And and also rips out his heart. I didn't get a picture of that, but she literally
Yeah.
growls and takes
And
out
he's
his
still
heart.
alive.
She's alive, but for
Yeah.
the comical effect,
Yeah.
just squash the heart right in front of his face for it to all just, go all
Mhm.
over
Well,
everywhere.
she shoots his friend in the head as he's running in.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
And then yeah, then
yeah.
she beats the crap out of him.
And I didn't get the
Mhm.
picture of it either, but this guy was also like a meta-human of sorts as well, which
That's
is
right.
interesting.
They had like lightning powers.
Yeah,
It's looks like or something.
like some strength lightning sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like it really made him that much like fast like Flash. Because I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people when you think lightning in DC, you either think Black Lightning
Yeah.
or Flash, the bigger of the two with
Mhm.
lightning, right? Or I
It
guess
was more like
Shazam.
electrical is a better way maybe to say it.
Yeah, it's like
Mm,
electrical like strength enhancer, it
yeah.
seemed like, or something like that.
And
But
honestly, metahumans are normal in this universe because the lady says metahumans are welcome. They just can't use their powers.
right,
So yeah.
right. That's an important point about just the DCU is we're entering into a universe that's already developed
Mhm.
quite a bit. So, um,
Makes it nice they have a plan of what they're doing. So
yeah, there's a bit of rich history that they already have. So
mhm.
that's good. And then here we go. Here's the sweet Weasel moment right there. Weasel sleeping with the wolves. That's just adorable. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely sweet. As he's dreaming about who we thought was from we learned from his episode was the little girl, but turned out to be but he sees her as that little girl from his flashback as the princess uh
Mhm.
that played fetch with it too, and you forget about that they played fetch together as well, before that episode too, and so like there's this like big story arc, like there's this whole story arc with Weasel going on throughout this entire season that you realize
Mhm.
comes together more and more, and as he's dreaming about her, we realize this is just an important moment that leads into the finale, and so oh, and then we see Dr. Phosphorus's rampage here as well.
Mhm.
Um, I like this shot in particular as he's about to burn through his
He
legs.
is not the faint of heart when it comes to this, and I don't blame him.
No, like
He
this is
really
yeah, like this is the moment where throughout this montage, because before this you see him first like go up to the gate and guard and just like kill him, and then he goes up
Mhm.
and implied that he killed the whole family of the
Yeah.
dude that was behind the murder of his family, and it just goes around and hunts down every single one, being absolutely dark. Where he
And
also
in the grocery store too. He just
oh
picks the guy
yeah,
up. He just picks him up and melts him.
that's right. We also see here where he just like takes over the what was going on with the crime lord that he killed, uh, taking over everything. Looking quite dapper in that suit, I must say.
And all the guys are like they're like, "Cool, you can be the leader because I don't wanna get melted." Because
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
basically like, "Everything that was under the previous guy's control is now mine."
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And they
Um.
kinda hesitate though, they're like, cool,
Yeah.
yeah." Like, "Why'd you
Yeah.
hesitate?"
Well, when you got somebody like that, you either have one choice or death, I guess. Right. Especially
Mhm.
with seeing how sadistic he is too, and that's like the great flip of the switch moment that you see as well, as he just unleashes his rage and it doesn't stop.
Yep.
And then you have the dance sequences here, and that and the way that the dance is like tied into the other action that was going on. I don't know if I got
Mhm.
anything else from that action specifically, but like that's awesome, and the whole music to go along with it, and like this whole sequence is great though. It
Mhm.
was a lot of fun seeing Dr. Phosphorus dance around and all that. Yeah, just to
And yeah,
be
then we get Batman.
yeah, Batman. We're gonna look at Batman. Very dark silhouette, but Batman's already been a thing, already been established. When we're getting our Batman,
Mhm.
whenever we get that Batman movie, Brave and the
Quick,
Bold.
let's zoom in and see the face. Who is it?
Well, James Gunn left it intentionally silhouetted so we can, not set a design right away. But it's
Mhm.
important that it's Batman here, as it's the
With how big he looks just from that angle, this obviously is not like a young Batman. Oh, he's older than Superman, I think is what James Gunn said, or he's the same
Probably.
age.
So that's an interesting point you bring that up because there
Yeah.
is some reference where Dr. Phosphorus had in the next episode, where he's talking about 15 years ago about some sort of run-in or something. And so implying that this moment could
Mhm.
be 15 years.
Yeah.
So this could be Batman earlier, but that would definitely mean there'd
Mhm.
be a lot of time for Batman to grow.
Yeah.
Even assuming this is an earlier days of Batman, and it would quite work, I think, timeline wise as well, because Brave and the Bold, we're going to see Batman with the Bat family,
Mhm.
like a full fledged Bat family for the first time ever in live action, at least, which I'm really
This is
looking
gonna be
forward to.
awesome.
Well, yeah, because I think they're looking at mainly Batman and Son, where that's when Batman discovers Damian Wayne is his son. They discover it's a great father and son story,
Mhm.
but by then we already have a lot of other characters set up. Nightwing's established. I don't remember. I think it's just before that was when Red Hood just came out or came back or came in. Where was a thing? The whole Under the Red Hood story arc. I think was just before that
Mhm.
arc, if I remember right. And at that moment too, the current Robin is Tim Drake, who had become to be Red Robin. So at that point though, you have a whole fledged bat family right there, and Batgirl.
Mhm.
Um,
Finally, unless they scrap that idea too.
we'll see. We'll see. It'll be cool to actually get Batgirl on screen as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check out the comic club for Batman and Son. Indeed. If I remember, I'll put in the description below my second ever comic club. We talked about Batman and Son. So, but yeah, it was cool to see Batman there. A nice way
Mhm.
to make the universe all interconnected with all that, and the dance stuff was a lot of fun. I remember
Mm.
in particular, um, I really like this one shot. I should have grabbed it because I thought about grabbing the shot and I was like, eh. There's that shot where he's making the gun pose and then it transitions into him firing into the gun pose. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, shooting all that. That was really fun. So,
Mhm.
and then they all regroup.
Another James Gunn group slow-mo walk,
Right, exactly.
but it looked cool. I mean,
It does. It did
yeah.
indeed. I agree. We
Mhm.
see him together with just without GI Robot and Rick Flag Senior now. Um, and yes, thank you for dropping that link. I will try to remember to put that into the description below. But definitely check out Batman and Son, as that was a really fun read. And also just got for Christmas. Actually, just got Volume 2 of Grant Morrison's Batman omnibus. There's 3 omnibuses of
Mhm.
his Batman run, and so I just got Volume 2 for Christmas to check out as well, to read more of his
Nice.
stuff. So lots of good stuff there from him. All right. Um, any other thoughts on this episode?
Uh, I mean, we covered most of it. It's another solid episode.
Yeah,
Um, I really like the Dr. Phosphorus stuff. Really
I
felt for him.
I would say he probably has one of the best backstories along with the Bride. Like the
Yeah,
Bride and GI Robot and Doctor Phosphorus would be my favorite three. I mean, those would be my favorite 3 backstories. I'm not sure the
yeah.
order I'd rank them, but they were all great in their own ways, and
Mhm.
but they were each their own kind of backstory as well, which was cool. You see a really tragic backstory. Um, I mean, they're all tragic in their own ways, but
Yeah.
they're just told differently, and that makes it feel fresh
Mhm.
every episode when they get into it. And Doctor Phosphorus really shined character wise in this episode as well, and he had a nice
Mhm.
Batman surprise. So, and
There's a lot to like in this one. So.
that's for sure. But yeah, next episode begins with another backstory where we see get into Nina's backstory as she's the last one that hasn't been talked about yet. As we can see, she's born with this what was this lungs on the outside,
Mhm.
which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Um, that she's not
And
born
she
as a
just so happens to have a dad who's a scientist. So lucky, you know.
lucky. Um,
Mhm.
let's see here. We see Frankenstein being taken to the castle. Um, against this
That was
guy's
great how
will.
he was describing it like it's nothing. He's going into this like gory detail, and he's like implying like the bride is going to be his whether she wants to or not.
Yeah, right.
And the driver's just like, "Can I
Uh-huh.
get to the castle any quicker?"
Completely terrified. Just the
Mhm.
space says it all here. But yeah, they're looking through the security cameras here. Because we see this moment of where Frankenstein's looking up at the window and the bride's beating the crap out of this one person, and then they look into
Yeah.
these cams to figure out more of what's going on. And
And they
that's
see
when
someone, yeah,
there we
I was
go.
just
Yep.
about to bring that up. Yeah,
See
we don't
Clay.
know at first who that is initially, um,
Yeah,
but
it's true. Yeah, keeping it really secret here about what's going on.
mhm.
I feel like actually when you pause it here, you can tell a lot more clear of who it is than when you watch it
Yeah,
first in the
that's true.
episode. Because I
Because
didn't
they only
realize
show it for, like, a
watching
second.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they make it believe the first time you watch the episode that it's that one lady, I
Mhm.
guess. And so, but yeah, covering it up there. Frankenstein pops up. I loved his face. I almost grabbed a picture of it too of the face he makes because he makes this really stupid, hilarious face when he first pops into the
Mhm.
window, and like it made me laugh when rewatching it. And he gets shot by the bride, and that's the rest of Frankenstein. That's
Yep.
Frankenstein's story in this. Is
Mhm.
It's kind of funny though too because it was like it's just his story goes full circle yet again
Yep.
against the bride, and so I guess that brings up like the first big point of like how you felt about this finale of well, that's Frankenstein. As his whole thing was he would just get to brought back here for
Mhm.
just for the bride to end him off
To
really
get
quickly
shot.
again, just to get
Yeah.
shot. Right. This is essentially all his story culminated in. Like how did you feel about that?
Yeah, it was interesting, because I didn't obviously, it's been renewed for a season 2, so I just assumed that, all the characters would make it, but at the same time, it doesn't surprise me that James Gunn kills off one of the sort of main characters, um, and
See,
he doesn't get his bride, so
I don't think the point is that
mm,
he's killed off because it's Frankenstein, and we see him always
oh,
come
that's true.
back.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny though because it's set up very clearly in the Bride episode. They have this circle that just always goes around
Mhm.
of Frankenstein finds a bride, the bride beats the shit out of him, and keeps on going into a circle. And
Yeah.
that's what we see here is that cycle continues. But you know what would be cool is it'd be interesting to see Frankenstein back more in like I mean, they could easily do this in like Creature Commandos season 2 if they wanted to.
Mhm.
Or they could make it their own show as they have Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade, or I think is what that's called. And that's where a lot of these characters actually based from. I'm not sure how many of the characters are specifically started based from that, but like a bit of the characters we get have a bunch of inspiration from it. Like the DC side of Frankenstein is based from it. It's just mixed with the Mary
Mhm.
Shelley backstory and whatnot, which is it's a cool mix. But yeah,
Mhm.
something I wanted to actually check out at some point. Maybe it'd be a good comic club to do someday.
Yeah.
Um,
There's definitely a lot that goes on in this episode.
that's
Um,
for sure. Like that's just the first
yeah.
bit. Like, well, I
Yeah.
noticed too. I think that finale might be the longest running episode of the season as well, because
I
I
think
noticed there's
so.
a few minutes longer than all the
It
others.
was, I think, 29 minutes with credits.
Yeah,
So, like,
so all the others
mm,
are 21, 22 minutes.
mhm,
That one was at 28. So, um, gave a few extra minutes to wrap up some stuff, and
mhm.
we'll get into it. We'll just go ahead and dive into it.
That's normal for a finale. Usually finales are longer. Um,
Just to try to tie
mhm,
into it.
yeah.
Yeah, Max does a good job overall to give the time needed to finish up the story of the season. I feel
Mhm.
like, unlike some other mouse in the clubhouse. Um, all right. Although rumor
That
is,
other place,
yeah, yeah. Anyway,
the other
besides the point,
Blues streaming service.
the other one, not even like really, they're more like ugly teal now.
Oh,
But
that's true.
anyway,
I forgot they switched, yeah.
I hate that color. Anyway, besides the point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Creature Commandos. We see more of Nina's backstory. This point was quite tragic as Nina's
Mhm.
mother just left. We see the father is now a single father, and like it's just sad of how it's like a mother would just abandon her child like that.
Yeah,
And
because she just can't handle it, you know, and it's
can't
like
handle, yeah.
I'm sure that is tough, but you're not making it really any easier by leaving, and,
No, I think this picture in particular, part of the reason why I grabbed this still is because I think it's just a good, what's that sort of phrase? A picture says a thousand words sort of thing, right?
mhm,
And so you can see the father alone there, all sad as the child, as Nina as a baby, they're just innocently trying to just play. But you can obviously tell that
mhm,
she's having her own troubles there because she can easily grab that when she has that hunk of, I don't know
metal
what
on
that's
her.
made out. I was gonna say metal. I assume that'd be
Metal,
metal on her.
oh,
So
yeah. Oh, I know, yeah. I know the other one after that is metal, but I don't know what that is, but it
right,
weighs, like, as much as her, if
right,
not more.
right. So yeah, you see the other version from when she's able to. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Mhm.
Be thankful you don't have to breathe through something like that. And you see
Yeah.
too is like, yeah, you get close up face shots as she's trying to like breathe through, and you can tell that like it's a struggle for her to live, and you
Mhm.
feel for her as a child there because it's just like,
Yeah.
holy crap, it's her as a child just trying to struggling to even breathe,
Mhm.
and
And
so
having to carry all that weight around all the time, it's like,
yeah, and then
sheesh.
and not having to force to fit in.
Mhm.
Because we see her not even really be able to play with the other people. She has this procedure happen where it just turns her into the fish as we know her, the mer
Mhm.
lady as we know her now, as I guess you could say. um, because she wasn't born that way, which was, I mean, I wasn't familiar with the character before watching the show,
Mhm.
but I kind of figured, given all these other monsters, I was like, maybe she's born this way of merfolk, or
Yeah.
something like that. Because fish people's a thing in DC, like Aquaman or
Mhm.
something related with Aquaman or something.
Yeah. Like, maybe the dad or maybe the mom hooked up with the fish guy and was like, "Oh, sometimes a baby, is like this, honey," you know?
Or maybe it's the other way around. Because if you remember in Aquaman, it's his father's the human one.
Yeah.
So you could have it the other way where the mother's the human
Yeah.
one and you end up with
Mhm.
this instead.
Yeah.
um anyway, but besides the point, we see her
Mhm.
be be like that now. Is she's now trying to blend in here. She just gets bullied because
Mhm. That
she
school is
doesn't
not a fun
show.
experience at all. All the kids are bullying
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, no, not a single nice soul to her.
Except that one boy at the when she's at her locker, he kinda, like, waves to her, but
Right.
that's
It
it,
is.
really.
It's kind of like a hesitant wave too, if I remember right, too.
Yeah.
Kind of being like, yeah, I guess.
He's like, "Hey." Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Let's see here. There's oh yeah, this is when Rick Flag Sr. first starts saying stuff and starts revealing to Amanda Waller to call off the um assassination attempt on the princess because he reveals what he learned that about Clayface and all that, I guess. Or is it no, he doesn't explicitly say Clayface, but he gives the clues to Amanda Waller to like cut off what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah, if
Um
you kill the princess, that's gonna start,
right.
uh yeah.
Exactly. It's gonna start bad stuff.
Mhm. I think they said World War III.
I was about to say that. I think
Yeah.
so. That sounds right. So here we also see Nina runs away and gets into the water and stuff all by herself. And she just didn't feel like she's fit in anymore. So she was like, "Let me be all alone with how I feel." Um, we have the moment in the modern day where the princess jumps out into the water there, um,
Mhm.
and that's when Nina is given the task of, "Oh, you have to murder her." But I also quite like this moment too of where while she's up there and whatever too, you see Weasel starting to freak out, being like, they recognize her, and I don't remember if it was, I guess it's Nina who pointed out too, of like,
Mhm.
oh, you remember Weasel likes her because they played fetch together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's
Weasel. See, it's funny too because it's like Weasel's there, but he doesn't obviously understand the mission because
right.
he's just
He's
there.
literally just there. Yeah. He's
He's
literally
literally just there.
hmm
And I remember Dr. Phosphorus as well being like, oh, you can just put him down. It's fine.
Yeah.
uh,
No, they're like, no one will miss him. It's all right.
yeah. So you see another look at Mina all by herself there. This was very Gollum-like to me.
Yes. Yes. I thought she was going to start singing.
For hours, she said. Yes, that's right. Playing fetch for hours. But yeah, this is very Gollum-like to me, just eating the raw fish. She's all by herself. You get a photo taken of her, leads to her getting captured, and that's how she ended up as a monster unit.
Oh, and her dad is shot while she's getting taken away.
Oh yeah, like that is just so sad. So she's in that containment facility, not even by choice at all. It's just not by any of her actions, we should say, because nobody's willingly there, obviously. But
right, and she
because
never really did any. She never did anything that warrants it. It's just her appearance.
Yeah, her appearance is what put her there and made her be on that team. Here we see Amanda Waller and John Economos investigate the house.
I love when they get in and they see Clayface,
Yeah,
and then they smell, and Amanda Waller's like, "Oh gosh."
yeah.
They walk up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure that would smell for
And
sure."
just so you know, Clayface doesn't die this way. All right,
Right.
he has these moments where he just like gets blown to bits, and he'll start to come back together slowly. And I think there's a specific name that they have for Clayface's regeneration process. I don't remember what it's called, but Clayface doesn't die as easily like this. Because I saw one of the complaints, and maybe and we can talk about this a bit more in depth later on, but I know there's some complaints that people had. I know people had it with Guardians 3 in this, and it happens a bit in this show as well, of people feeling like death cop outs
Yeah.
and whatever. Because it's like, well, how many people really died, And so,
True.
and Guardians 3 did the same thing as well, where it kept on hitting at
Mhm.
people dying. Nobody really died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He was a pain in the ass in Gotham Knights. Yes. I do remember not having the best of time with that. But yeah. Here we go. Nina goes up to strike. But just as she's going up, Weasel flails about, goes in. Weasel gets his he breaks free and just
And then the
rushes
princess instantly looks down and sees Nina coming
Yeah.
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the point of it here was
Right.
that it's Weasel got her attention, and because of Weasel's action here, she wasn't relaxed as she would. Because if
Mhm.
Weasel didn't do this, she would have gone right up into and just been able to easily stab her in the back there, or however she is planning on it. But this way, though, Weasel made her alert, and then she would have probably spotted, from her peripheral vision, there's a fish person coming to attack me.
Yeah.
Right there, as they
Mhm.
battle it out there.
And you can tell Nina, obviously, as someone who's never killed someone, she doesn't really give it her all, and that's why she's so easily able to be disarmed.
That's true. I mean,
Because
she's not a fighter.
right, she's not a fighter, and the princess is, in a sense.
Right.
So yeah.
That's true. And then we also see Dr. Phosphorus, or Weasel biting Dr. Phosphorus there. We see the red lips around Weasel, which remains throughout the rest of the episode, which I found hilarious.
Mhm.
As biting Dr. Phosphorus has consequences.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
Exactly.
Which is hilarious. But And then here's the moment of the princess brutally stabbing Nina there.
Mhm.
What's up, comic? Quite
Now
late for you.
she is dead. Like Nina is dead for sure after
Yeah.
this.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace,
The
Nina.
most likable character is the one that's killed off.
I know, and that's what makes it tragic as well. It's
Mhm.
like, holy crap, she and then they get surrounded and they get the call. Um, yeah, it was tragic there because it's like, oh, you just feel for her, and then next thing you know, um,
Bride's basically telling her
right,
she knew her whole plan.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to think. I was thinking back to it as well of Weasel's going to get a monument as well of some
Exactly,
sorts
yeah.
for saving her, which is hilarious to think that we could
Mhm.
see an actual legit statue of Weasel next season, which is going to be hilarious if we actually do see it. I think
Yeah.
it'd be great if we do. But
Mhm.
yeah, we see this as she breaks through the plan of everything. We see the
And
photo
then just
revealed.
shoots her. Yeah.
Yeah, and just shoots her there. Yeah, exactly. Um, and yeah, absolutely brutal. And then they walk off towards the sunset of now only 3 remain of this Creature Commandos squad of them. Um,
And the bride is taken back to, like, the facility and has a team for
indeed,
herself.
you're right.
Y yeah. They give her her own
Give her own
division.
division. Let's get into who they
Mhm.
are as we see
Mhm.
Dr. Phosphorus is still there. Along with that is somebody named Nosferatu. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with her as a character, but
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not either, yeah.
I just know that's her name. I'm also not familiar with this next guy, but
Mhm.
his name is Khalid.
Mm.
And interesting theory I saw, and it's part of what makes me want to read Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade, is because he was in that
Mm.
series for a bit, and supposedly in that he resurrects Nina,
Oh, wow.
and so people are thinking that might happen in this case of Nina being resurrected because he's going to be on the team now.
Mhm.
Also found interesting too. James Gunn said in an interview he wasn't a big um, mummy person. He was always more into werewolves, and I
Mm.
find it hilarious. Okay, let's get.
Right.
I find it interesting for 2 reasons here. First, um, there's one of the very first Creature Commandos characters. I don't remember his name, but it's literally a werewolf. I find it interesting that
Mm.
he's not here at all. And James Gunn's
Yeah.
talking about how much he likes werewolves. So I'm like, interesting. I wonder why he's not being used at all when he's a big Creature Commandos character.
Mhm.
But
Maybe
then
he'll be in season 2, I don't know.
it would be cool if he's there in some way. I would have liked to see a reference to him somehow. Okay, I'm trying to remember the other original characters because we had a version of like a monster, but it was kind of like alluded to be Frankenstein. G.I. Robot there was there for a bit. There's this like other lady character, kind of like a Medusa essentially.
Mm,
There's
mhm.
somebody else. I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, a vampire character is who it is. Like a Dracula like sort of person, but like that bat person. Um, if I
Mm,
remember, he was vampire. He turned into a vampire from like an experiment, I think.
mm.
So
As of most of these people, they're, like, experimented on, and then
yeah,
yeah. Mm.
but James Gunn, I guess, wanted to challenge himself to start writing a mummy character next.
Yeah. He also
So
said in a interview that he thinks Creature Commandos is his most, like, saddest project he's ever done. Um,
yeah, I could. Well,
it's got moments, but I don't know if it's more sad than Guardians 3. I don't know. I might need to rewatch the series as, like, a whole now that it's all out.
right.
Um,
I see. Both
uh,
of those are very tragic in their own way. I feel like
mhm.
having because Guardians 3 hit me in the feels all around the place, but this
Yeah.
series for sure. You see, the main thing that makes Guardians 3 really sad is Rocket's backstory versus this. You get
Mhm.
like 5 whole backstories where like, oh my gosh, none of them being happy at all or anything, just they're tragic each in their own ways. And that's what I think
Mhm.
makes this series overall stands out. So like I could see why he says that, just because there's a lot
Yeah.
more tragedy in this package of a series versus Guardians 3 per se. But at the same time though, I think Guardians 3 hits harder for people because you grew with them through a journey of 2 movies and them also being in Infinity War and Endgame as their own cameo, well, roles /
Mhm.
cameos, however you want to call it there. So, especially with
Yeah.
Rocket when he's a big character there and a bit of it as well. And just for it to all involve around Rocket, you know. So that's I get why people say it.
Mhm.
So, but I also understand where he comes from as well. Um, But yeah, speaking of Weasel licking himself, Weasel's
Yeah.
back, of course, because why not? You know, gotta have Weasel back.
He's got a
Weasel,
statue now. You gotta have him back.
exactly. The hero of the series, obviously. And then GI Robot's back in this new.
Mhm.
He's
New and
big now,
improved.
new and improved. He's now the literal powerhouse of the team,
Mhm.
being all big here. He's yeah. I wasn't It was a surprise for me to see him back. What did you think?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely surprised. I completely forgot about the idea of him being a robot and being able to be put back together.
Right.
But I
It's
just assumed because we didn't see him for the till now that I just thought, okay, they're not bringing him back or
yeah.
potentially in season 2 or something. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I know, like, when he gave his sacrifice, I was like, "Oh, no, it sucks," you know? Not as sad as, like, K2SO, but it's still like, "Oh, no," you know?
Yeah.
It was sad that he was gone, but you don't think about that, like, well, he is, his head was, I guess, for the most part intact there, so it makes sense that they'd be able to just
Mhm.
reinstall that into a better body here, and so, you know, he's back, which is cool. Indeed.
Mhm.
He's the copper giant, indeed.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, last but not least, we have
King Shark.
King Shark, the new king of the group. Where interesting, I don't remember the voice actor's name, but this voice
Stallone?
it was not Stallone who voiced
Oh,
this.
I was thinking the movie.
Yeah, yeah, and the movie did because it sounded off to me, because I just knew it wasn't Stallone when I heard the voice.
Mhm.
Because I love the Suicide Squad and King Shark is probably one of my favorite characters to just quote ever. Like his lines in the Suicide Squad, I absolutely forgot. Um, and oh yeah, this is a good point, Chris. So talking about GI Robot, he's probably pissed about Nina. You know, it's
Mm,
gonna be
mhm.
interesting to see what might happen in season 2 with him finding out about what happened to Nina.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
finding out or how he'd process that.
He was gonna go on, like, a killing rampage or something.
Yeah, we don't know what happened with that,
Yeah.
from that,
But the
so we'll
princess
see.
is dead, so it's like he can't really get revenge in that way. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But he's also different because he's just a robot, you know?
mhm.
For all we know, maybe his memory was also erased of his last adventure, so who
That's
knows?
true, yeah, maybe
There's
with
a
the new body, his mind was wiped or something.
or only remembers so much, who knows?
Mhm.
We'll
Maybe
see.
they won't let him remember the mission or something.
Could be like in Star Wars where they try to wipe the mind so much.
Mhm.
Looks like Iron Giant Man. Kinda ish. I kinda got more Hulkbuster sort of vibes from how big he is now.
Mhm.
So that's what it reminded me of. Like he's the big muscle of the group now. Well, either that or yeah. He has no emotion. Um, so that's what I say. Yeah, powerhouse. Either him or King Shark. You're gonna have to see who stronger there, I guess. And you know what? I'm actually very excited to see King Shark back because I absolutely loved him in the Suicide Squad. Oh, I didn't say what I was talking
Mhm.
about him earlier. Is that his voice actor was, or in this episode though, because I could tell it wasn't Stallone. It sounded
Yeah.
really off to me the first time I watched the episode. But it's actually who the same voice actor who voiced Batman in Harley Quinn and Brave and the Bold,
Oh,
and he's done a
okay.
bunch of other side like DC voice roles as well. But that was like the most. I'd say that's the biggest one of leading Brave and the Bold. And so, but yeah, he voiced King Shark here, and the second time watching it, it sounded a lot better to me. I'll say that. Yeah, uh, Rum Rum. friend. Yeah, I love him in the Suicide Squad. So to think that he'd be back for season 2, which is now official that we're getting a season 2, um, I mean, well, get a backstory for him, which I think is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
very much
that would be
looking
cool to
forward
see.
that. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Hand. Yeah, I'd love him. Star of the Suicide Squad. And then we have James Gunn's in his sense of post-credit scenes involving eating yet again. I didn't even connect this till just now because remember Guardians 3, the post-credit scene was
That's
Chris
right.
Pratt eating cereal. We now have Frankenstein eating bird dropping soup, or pigeon dropping stew or whatever it is called. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Because he is like, this dish is garbage. What is it? That was hilarious. But you know what? Wouldn't put it past James to do post-credit scenes any other way. As he, when you look at his post-credit scenes, he's never really taken them that seriously.
Exactly. Yeah.
Except for
It's like
maybe
something they were going to put in the episode, and they were like, we got to cut this. And he's like, we'll just make it the post-credit scene.
And so the jokey afterwards, right? And so it's funny. And that's it. That's the finale. How'd you feel about it wrapping up?
I liked it. I know some people didn't like it. I think the main complaint was it did have a lot going on, but I didn't feel like it was overwhelming. I thought it was a really good episode. I think it's my favorite of the last 3.
Sure.
At least overall. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it did its job. Like, it was set up to where you only had, I guess, really only 2 plot lines left to really wrap up. Was, well, you had Frankenstein coming in to intercept, and they took care of that right away. And then there's just all the stuff involving the princess, and obviously they had to tell Nina's backstory. But and the way they cut between her and the princess while swimming was neat as well, and waiting to tell Nina's backstory just made it even more tragic when you realize that she just really didn't belong, and now she's gone, because of Weasel too, which is crazy too, and Weasel's still there, which is just funny to think about.
And he's getting a statue from it.
Yeah, Weasel's getting a statue. He's still alive. And it's going to be interesting though too, because when we get into season 2 here, we have Nosferatu's backstory to delve into. We have Khalid here, or Khalid. And then maybe more. I don't know if they'll really elaborate on J.I. Robot at all. But then there's also King Shark. That brings the number back up to 7 for people to explore, in addition to the reoccurring members. So we could get backstories for all those new characters. But it'll also be interesting to see how they treat the episodes. Like, are we just is it going to be told in a more traditional sense for some of it?
I mean, my take on it, I feel like season 1 was almost like a part 1. So it took its time explaining the backstories of all these characters,
right?
Explaining the stuff. And I feel like season 2 is going to get more in on the action and maybe a little backstory. But
yeah, see, that was my thing too. Is I was like, I'm really liking how they're telling all the backstories in season 1 here, of intertwining it. But at the end of the day, we only have 3 of them left, and then G.I. Robot back. So it's going to be interesting to say if we get another 7-episode season, or is it going to be 3 episode backstories and then like 4 normal sort of episodes, I guess? I don't know. I'll be excited to see King Shark, though. That'll be awesome. So, but
I also wonder how far into season 2 they are, at least production wise. Like, is it going to be 2 years before we see it, or
I think it would be a bit, because James would have to write it, or unless he's getting somebody else to write it because of him being so busy. Because that's the thing, is I think they greenlit season 2 purely on if the numbers did good enough, and I think that's what it showed. Is I think the numbers showed enough people were watching it. It would be worth it enough to do a season 2. And so we're getting a season 2 now. Who knows when the script is going to be start?
Mm-hmm.
Well, well, actually, but that could also be contradicting what James says a little bit. Like, because I guess he would have had to have a story idea not to have announced it, because he doesn't want things
Yeah.
to be in production unless they is written. Unless the announcement is only season 2's had the green light.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
it
that's
was.
what it was. So I think
Yeah.
it's not necessarily in production yet. It's just it has a green light. It's ready to go. And I want to highlight really quick. Matthew says, "The good, the bad, the weasel." That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Very true.
So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Overall, though, I felt like it was a really good season. Though I really enjoyed it. It feels refreshing as the soft launch of the DCU.
Yeah.
Feels refreshing to have it be a just have it show the different aspects of the DC universe, a different way of having all these monsters and stuff explored, which is quite enjoyable. So Matthew is here saying animated season 2 was greenlighted when season 1 was, just like Filma's season 2 was.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, Velma season 2 would not have happened if they waited for the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I just know we didn't get the official confirmation till like 2-3 weeks ago or something like that. I don't even remember if it was officially announced when we did our episode 1. Was it?
I don't think so. I think it was just after that it was announced.
Yeah, I want to say so as well. That sounds right to me. So
it might have been just after episode 5 or just before. I'll have
yeah,
to see.
yeah. I feel like you're right on that timing. So I don't know. Interesting.
I don't remember us talking about it. I think we would have talked about it if it had.
Yeah, I should remember. But I think they set up for season 2 though quite well. There's a bit of stuff to look forward to.
I'm definitely pretty excited.
Yeah. I think James Gunn's proven himself with another kind of team. I don't feel like he's quite, because I know some people's complaints where it's like, oh, it's just another misfit team story. But I think the way they told this one overall was quite a bit different, and I definitely felt for them in different ways, and it just comes together because they're the most when was it? They're not as, because his other main teams was like Guardians and then the Suicide Squad. All of those had like a sense of family at the end of it, or that they were together in some way. Versus this one, it's like, yeah, you have the Bride and Dr. Phosphorus and Weasel together, but you don't have the sense, like you did in the Suicide Squad, that like, at least to me, that they were like a team that cared about each other. They're still just there because they have to be.
Maybe at the end of season 2, they'll feel more like a family if they're still alive, you know.
So yeah, Chris is saying on December 23rd was when he did his main course with that as the headline. So math is not mathing right now for when that was, but
yeah, that doesn't. I don't remember.
I think I think that would literally be right after we would have done our episode.
So,
I believe. So,
yeah, that sounds about right.
Matthew's saying it's partly because of getting animation done, because it's a long while to create the art. Right. It makes sense. Right. The animation takes forever. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you'd rather them not be pressured to be like, do this in 3 months. You know, I'd rather them take their time and it be good.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. 3 Tuesdays ago. Yeah, like if it was on a Tuesday,
we probably did it. That was probably the Tuesday
right after. Exactly. Yeah, so it was exactly after then. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, season 1 was a success. Awesome stuff there. Very much looking forward to it. I don't know if there's really too much more you have to say. Like, I was very pleased with this season, and I just really enjoyed it as its own corner story of the DC universe. We got to see
Mhm.
some stuff that's normally not highlighted on the big screen. Or not on the big screen, but like just
Mhm.
generally that we get with these stories. You know, we haven't quite got any stories like this at all from Marvel, so very cool to
Yeah.
see that come together in that regard.
It was a very nice soft launch because
Yeah,
the general audience, the main launch will be Superman,
yeah,
for them, but for us, this is a nice little kind of like an appetizer
it's
of
just
what
about
to
a,
expect. Yeah.
it was a very nice appetizer for the main dish to come of
Mhm.
Superman, which, oh boy, that's going to be a big one. I can't wait. Topping the numbers right now as far as just anticipation
Yeah.
goes. I
I
feel like
I tried to go ahead and sit in the theater for it, but they wouldn't let me. They said it's too far out in advance.
you said something
Um,
about it not being done. I don't know. Kind of
yeah.
crazy, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, guys, it's 6 months, come on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chris is saying compared to what some of us watched on as kids, it is on the big screen. Well, that's
Oh,
not your
that's
little
yeah.
not your little box TVs.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, yeah. I don't know if there's really anything else to talk about at all.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we covered it all that I can think of.
I think so as well. Very happy with Creature Commandos. If you haven't given a watch, what are we doing here with it being already spoiled all for you? Go give it a watch.
Exactly.
It is excellent. Can't wait for season 2. Can't wait for more DCU because I just can't wait to see what more projects we'll get that shows different parts of the universe coming together as we're getting lots and lots of DCU news to talk about and to consume and lots of stuff. I can't wait.
Mhm, mhm.
Very solid start, in my opinion, for the DCU, which I can't wait to see how it evolves and goes
Mhm.
onwards.
I think I gave the season like an 8 out of 10.
Um,
Um, I might bring that down to probably like a 7.5 or a 7 because it was a solid season. Had some high highs. Um, but
yeah, I'd
yeah.
rate it at an 8 or 8.5 for me, I think.
Mhm.
Let us know what you would rate the season down below in the comments. At least the TVs were heavy, so no one would steal them or wanted to steal them. Well, that's a plus. I got like one of those downstairs in my basement, and we literally just put a flat screen TV in front of it because it's like we're not moving that.
It is staying put. Yeah.
Yeah, it just stays there. Nobody wants to move how big that thing. That thing's massive.
Mhm.
Um,
I
but
used to have a TV like that where I'm like, golly, it's huge.
it's a literal giant brick is what they were.
Mhm.
That's funny. But yeah, yeah. Well, where could the people find you? What you got coming up?
So you can check me out on the Feast of Fandoms YouTube channel. This coming Monday, we are reviewing Daredevil season 3, episode 5, I believe. And
Ooh,
then um, on Wednesdays, we have an episode of War of the Stars drop. And then Thursday night, we'll be here. Spencer will be joining us for the Skeleton Crew finale, which will be a lot of fun. It's hard to
indeed.
believe it's already almost over.
Yeah,
Um, it's been a really good series. I've really been enjoying it.
yeah.
Um,
Surprised me.
yeah, it definitely was a good surprise after the Acolyte. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
solo.
Uh,
It's like a Last Jedi and solo thing. Um, and then Saturdays we have the Geek Gauntlet, and they cover everything to do with geeky
sure.
stuff. So yeah,
Well, check out Feast of Fandoms down below. I believe I already have it linked down in the description, so go check them out.
awesome.
Lots of awesome shows going on. It seems like most days of the week there. So,
Yeah, we almost
so
have a show for every day of the week.
there you go. Well, I know it's like a big group of you all. You know, you come together.
Mhm.
Each person kind of takes their reins on a different show. So cool to see. And so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, um, yeah. Go check out Feast of Phantoms down below. Lots of awesome stuff there. I'll definitely be pimping out us being on there for the Skeleton Crew finale. There's also from the Dingus Den. Keep an eye out Monday. Alien Paradiso issue 1 video with special guest Salacious Rum, where we're talking about it. delving deep into Alien. I never delved into Alien deep like that before, so it was a lot of fun to dig deep into the Alien universe. If you don't, if you're an Alien fan, go check it out. And we break down the whole story for you there, and it's really it was a good start. It's a good start. Curious to see where that goes. It's aliens on a paradise world. Like think aliens on like a paradise resort sort of place.
Oh, okay.
So it's very interesting. Very interesting to see what is going on there. And so yeah, video on that coming out Monday. Tomorrow I might be live on Twitch. Keep an eye out. Might's the keyword there. I want to start streaming consistently Sundays on Twitch. I don't know what time yet or anything like that, but it's something I'm looking into doing. So I might start that tomorrow, as I have plenty of games to try out. And so keep an eye out for that. And then also, as I was mentioning earlier, Saturday, I will be doing another Daily Dingus. Have a special friend of the channel coming to join as we talk about what's new in the world of comics in the last month or so, just saying the main highlights. But then I'll also have a special announcement or two to share then as well. So be on the lookout for that, as that's going to be important as I have some Dingus Den news to share. Yeah, there's going to be something big I'll be sharing there. So keep an eye out next week on Daily Dingus, week from today. Wait, I think we set a time of, if I remember right, I think it's 4 p.m. EST. 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll be doing Daily Dingus, I think. So keep an eye out for that. Lots of stuff to talk about there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Also, check me out on Richards Remastered. We do some fun stuff there. We might be doing some more. Might be doing a special podcast episode of Rambling Red Shirts on Monday, as we're changing the date to that Mondays at some point. I don't quite know when, so keep an eye out for that. Chris has been doing a bunch of stuff there for his main course during the days, and putting out a bunch of shorts and streaming games and stuff there. So if you're not part of the Discord or the Dingus Den Discord, go check all that stuff out. That's a lot of stuff, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
I've been keeping myself busy, and so got lots of stuff coming out for the Dingus Den and all that. So keep an eye out for all that stuff. Matthew saying did something fun last night, but no one else showed up. Well, you know what? Let's plan a special night for that, and we'll get people around for that. Special game night involving Jackbox. So should do that. Should do that. Figure out a night for it, I think. But anyways, that's it. That's it for us. I don't think we have anything else to say. Thank you so much for joining, Andrew. It was great having you on to talk about Creature Commandos. Lots to say about it. Pleasure to have you on. Got to have you on sometime. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna have you on sometime to talk about some comic stuff as well. So at some point as well. And so I'm trying to get more people on as well. And so I've been talking to some people about getting on here for more comic stuff as well. So, but anyway, yes, you did, Chris. Did introduce some to it earlier, but yeah. Until next time, everybody. See you in the Dingus Den. Bye.